Hey everyone, not me again here. Today I'm bringing you a tutorial on how to process your voice for streaming, podcasts, or just general gameplay recording. The tools I use, they process the audio in real time, so this cuts down on how much post-processing and editing that I need to do to literally nothing. I just hit record and process the video in my renderer, upload it to YouTube, job done. It's really great. Now, it can get a little complex, so I'll try to be as clear as possible when I'm going through these videos. I'll stop, I'll explain how the tools work. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments section below. And yeah, let's just get started. I hope that by the end of this video, you'll have a really good understanding of just how to process your vocals. And not just your vocals, how the game sounds can impact your recording, and what you can do to mitigate any kind of negative effects they have. What I'm talking about is explosions in the game, loud sounds that you're not expecting drowning out your voice. Now when you're streaming or when you've recorded a really good clip, the last thing you want is for your vocals to be drowned out. Yeah, people are watching these videos not just to enjoy the gameplay, but to also live the experience with you and hear your voice and make that kind of connection. So for me, audio quality has been a really big challenge. I've spent a lot of time. I started playing around with YouTube and streaming about 3 years ago, and I finally, after 3 years, finally got a setup that I'm quite happy with. You know, the vocal quality is good. The game sounds are recorded correctly, and it's all nice. So, this video, I'm going to show you my entire process, start to finish, getting the voice recorded, getting it treated, and then I'll move on to bringing in your friends' voices like TeamSpeak or Skype. I'll also throw in how I manage my game sounds and how they're recorded through OBS, which is Open Broadcaster, which is what I use. Before we start, I need to run through the software that I'm using right now. What you see on the screen right now is a program called VST Host. Now this is free. You can download it. It allows you to drop in a series of plugins like the standalone filters, noise gates, compressor, equalizer, and each of these is something that we're going to have to use. I also use Virtual Audio Cable, which isn't free. You have to purchase a license. It doesn't cost too much. I'll send you the links, make sure they're down below. And obviously I use OBS to bring everything in. Now, for my more professional sound, I do use another program called iZotope Nectar 2. This costs a fair bit, it really does, but you can get very similar results with this layout here. I'm going to go through and give you a quick example of raw audio, the treated audio, and then the final in-game example. So let's go. So this is an example of untreated, just raw audio taken straight from the microphone. Now, you can see here in the input chain, this is what this thing's called, by the way, an input chain. I have my input linked directly to the output. None of the other devices are linked to the output, so what you're hearing is just what the microphone's capturing. It's not the prettiest, is it? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch from the untreated audio to actual treated audio. So what I'll do is I'll just change the input chain from the input to the equalizer, which is the last in the chain. Now, as you can see, the audio quality is like changed immediately upon pressing those buttons. And I much prefer the audio like this, to be honest with you. And this is pretty much how it sounds in the game. So what I've done here is I also have the game sounds running through one of the audio processing units, just like VST Host. Let's hear how it goes. was just on my way to the hideout and I noticed this in the corner of my eye.
Deal, Trudy. Hand over the goods. You owe us.
I ain't giving you poison shilling chem pushers anything. Do you know what that joke has done to my boy?
Hi.
You stop waving that gun in my face, or it's gonna involve me.
That's it. You're dead. You crossed the wrong.
Well, there's no need to be dicks about all of this. Come here. Goodbye, Simone. She crippled my arm. A thing to note about that in-game clip there. The audio of the game never has the opportunity to override my voice. I'm not drowned out during the gunshots, the shouting, the conversations, or even the background noise. So bear that in mind. When you do your recordings, you want to make sure your voice rides over the top of everything like a silky smooth bedsheet, and the gameplay is just wrapped up in your voice. Let's talk hardware. So the microphone you're seeing right now is the Blue Yeti. It's available on Amazon. Last time I checked, for around about £89. It's attached to a nice shock mount, which stops vibrations. You can hear me, I'm tapping on my desk. I'm tapping on the microphone. There's also this rather swanky pop filter. Pop filters are really good because you have to get quite close to these microphones for them to pick up the dynamics of your voice. And when you're that close, you kind of risk blowing on the microphone. So let's try it without the pop filter. So as you can see, it's a very noisy, very horrible sound without the pop filter. But with the pop filter on, it just sounds great. And all of this is attached to my desk with this Rode PSA arm. And this just allows me to position the microphone where I need it. It's very comfortable, very easy to use. And the headphones there, they're my Audio Technicas. So this next bit can be a little bit intimidating if you're not used to playing with this type of software. First thing you're going to have to do is download everything I've mentioned, and I'll include all the links below. First off is Virtual Audio Cable. You can download the trial version, but there's going to be a woman's voice every 14 or so seconds saying it's a trial version. You can purchase a license, download and purchase. I suggest that you do that. It's really good software. You're going to be using it a lot. Every video you take is going to be using Virtual Audio Cable. The next piece of software is VST Host. I showed this off at the start. What you want to do is, for your system, if you're running a 64-bit system, which you should be because it's not the 90s anymore, download the 64-bit version. If you're still in the 90s, download the x86 version. There's some plugins that I use. These are the Reaper plugins, RIA plugs. Download them for whichever platform you downloaded VST Host for. Hopefully by now you would have had all the software that I've asked you to download installed. What you're now going to have to do is set up Virtual Audio Cable. Now the concept behind this can be a bit tricky to get used to. It basically creates a series of kind of like virtual audio cables that route the audio into different places around your system. I'm going to walk you through my setup. It's not as easy as I'd hoped it would be to explain, but first thing you're going to want to do is go to your program files, virtual audio cable directory, and open up this VCCTL pan. It's basically the virtual audio cable control panel. Once this is open, you want to set your number of cables to 3. This is pretty important for the work I do. With worker threads, you can leave everything else pretty much by defaults. Make a note of these numbers here. This is everything that I've got set up. I think they're mostly defaults. but they might not be. So, as I said earlier in the video, I've been at this for 3 years, so once you've got this set up, you'll be able to see in your control panel audio devices a couple new devices here, line 1, line 2 and line 3. You can go ahead and close down the control panel once you've done the settings there. You might have to hit restart audio engine before these show up, so go ahead and hit that now. We're going to talk a quick bit about how the cables are routed. I'll try to remember to put a diagram up, just to explain the concept here. For my TeamSpeak and Skype integration, I have the sounds patched through to line 3, and then I play the sounds back out through my microphone, because my microphone has the headphones in there. So what I do there is I go to line 3, Properties, Listen, and choose the Speakers Yeti. That should be all you need to do in terms of audio routing in the back end here. Now that you've got your audio routing set up, what you're going to want to do is have a look at VST host. So this is the current VST host setup that you're listening to right now. There's a lot of options here that have been set, and I'm going to do something a little crazy. I'm going to destroy everything that I've done. Wish me luck. And you can see as I'm removing all of these effects, it's affecting the audio live as it's working. So you see there, I deleted everything and my voice dropped out. I wasn't expecting that, but it happened, so we'll move on. The next thing to do is make sure you have your audio devices set up. So under devices at the top, Wave, you want to choose your input port to be your microphone, and the output port to be line 2 virtual audio cable. The sample rate, leave that at 44100, and the buffer, have a play with this. I found 630 samples works fine for me. If you have it too low, you end up with a lot of weird staticky noise. It's not great. Once that's done, hit. And now what you want to do is save as. So performance, save as. Give it a name, put it in a slot and hit OK. If you don't save your performance, you'll lose every change you make. The first thing we're going to add in is the filter. Now, the filter helps cut out all the background noise, like hissing, breathing, all this other stuff. You won't particularly notice it in the end recordings, but I notice it. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So what you want to add is this refer standalone. You can see when you add it in, it changes the input stream. Click on the chain at the right hand side of the out section and disable the main input. Now what you have is it's coming through this refer. To change the settings in refer, click on this dial and it'll open up like this. What this is showing now is basically the waveform of my voice, the frequency, the amplitude. Currently it's set at EQ, so it will be acting as an equalizer. We don't want that. We want to cut out the background noise. Now if I be quiet, you can see there's this low hum happening down here. Now a bit later in the audio processing steps, I'm going to introduce a tool called a compressor, and what that's going to do is it's going to amplify all the quiet noises, the hum included. So at this stage we want to get rid of it. Change the mode from EQ to subtract, My audio may have cut out for a second there, but essentially what we want to do is get this system in subtract mode and to automatically build a noise profile. Be quiet when you press this button, and you can see that it's now generated this red line. What that red line means is it's going to ignore everything that falls under that red line. We now have nice quiet audio. Excellent. We can close that and move on. Now that we're listening to filtered audio, we want to add in a noise gate. Now the purpose of a noise gate is to block any noises that you don't want in, really. Now personally, I don't like the sound of people breathing on videos. So I use this noise gate here to basically cut out everything that I don't want to listen to and I don't want other people hearing. Just low volume noises that aren't me talking. Don't forget to sort out your input chains here. So now we have the audio linked between the rear fur and rear gate plugins, going straight to the out. Edit the rear gate and set your volume levels here. What this will do now is it'll cut off anything that falls below that line. Now I've just set it so it hits my breath, so I'm going to turn this down again. Okay. Now that the noise gate's in, we're going to add in the compressor. Now the compressor is a very interesting tool. Don't forget to sort out your input chains. As I was saying, the compressor is a very interesting tool. This is exactly what it says on the tin. It does compress your audio. Now, when we're talking compressing audio, you'll notice that I'm talking at a moderate volume now. If I was to get a lot closer to the microphone, perhaps blow on it, the noise peaks, it distorts. You can see this output here went bright red. You want to cut out on that. What I normally do is I find my standard talking volume and I bring the compressor down just on top of it. I choose the attack of 10 milliseconds or thereabouts and a release of 100 by default. I then set a ratio, and this chooses how much it compresses the sound by. Now you can hear it's taking effect now as I'm walking through this. I normally set it to about 8.5 to 1. Leave everything else by default. You can see this red line here. What this is telling me is that it's compressing my audio at those peaks. Now if the audio is a bit too quiet for you at this stage, feel free to turn up the wet here. This basically changes the overall output. The next thing to add in will be our equalizer. Now the equalizer is the thing that makes my voice sound great. Again, don't forget to sort out your input chains. If you do, you'll be in a bad place. So now we have the complete chain. Looks rather pretty, doesn't it? Just to make things a bit neater. And let's step into the equalizer. Now this thing. Now equalizers can be a little scary when you start. There's a lot of options to choose, and a lot of sliders. They can be a bit confusing. Don't sweat it too much, and don't spend too much time tweaking this. The settings I'm going to give you are just general settings, really. Everyone has a different voice. You can tweak them afterwards to get the sound you like, but this is a kind of a typical voiceover setting that I'm going to give you. Point 1, you want to set this up to be a high pass. This is going to allow anything else that falls outside of this range to go through. Think of it like a gatekeeper. We want to set this to be 40.5, 0.2, negative 0.2, and a bandwidth of 4. And it will create this curve already. You can hear the difference that it's making as I'm typing in the numbers here. 0.2, you're going to want to set this up as a band. You want to give it a frequency of 140. You want to give it a gain of about 2. And you can see it's giving a nice hump to the audio there. Set your bandwidth to be 4. Move on to 0.3. 0.3 is another band. This sits right in the middle of the vocal range. At 610 Hz. We want to set the gain to be negative 4.1. This is known as scooping the mids. This is going to take out some of the mid-tones of my voice. And for 0.4, we want to set this as a high shelf. And this is just going to make sure that the high notes in my voice, the higher pitches of the sounds that I'm making aren't drowned out. This helps with the S's, it helps with K's and C's. Pretty much, you need it. Set the frequency to be about 7,400. 7,450 would do. Set the gain to be 4 decibels. And set the bandwidth to be 0.25. The last thing to do in the equalizer is just balance your voice. Choose how you would like it to sound. In terms of the volume, when you're happy with it, you're done. You've completed your input chain. The last thing to do here is save. And test your audio. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Save the recording and listen back to it at your leisure. Your main input chain's sorted. Your microphone audio is coming through crystal clear. It's equalised, its balance is great. Now what about the game sounds? I did mention earlier on in the video that explosions and loud noises in the game could drown out your voice. There's an easy way around this, and that's to use a compressor to limit the maximum volume the game can output. Now you could go and play around with volume sliders and tweak your game audio, but it's never always going to be precise enough, and you're going to spend a lot more time throughout the games tweaking and everything else from different games. The quickest and easiest method I've found is just to use another VST host instance. So take the work you've done before and copy the entire folder. Name this folder something nifty, like my game sounds. Nice name. Open the folder and open VST host again. Look familiar? Everything you've done before is still here. The great thing about VST host is it allows you to open multiple copies, just as long as they're in different folders. What we're going to do here is we're going to delete most of the input. What I'm going to do is just relink you straight to the compressor and relink you straight to the compressor. And then delete everything else in between. So the only thing within this input chain is the compressor. Everything's cleared down. We've opened up the compressor. Now what we need to do is test the audio. I can guarantee you that this first attempt is going to be pretty loud. Also, what I'm doing, just to show you, I'm monitoring the game audio and everything that goes out via OBS using these channel monitors here. You can see where my audio ends up here for the vocals. It's a pretty good level. I want to make sure that this always stays above the game sounds. So I'm going to add in the window capture, and this is the a pretty raw YouTube clip that I took quite a while ago. Unedited audio, pretty much as it comes from the game. So we'll just hit play. And you can monitor the audio levels here. You can see that it was drowning out my voice. Now, you could adjust this slider here. I prefer not to. I prefer to be outputting everything as full volume here, because you never know, you might want the extra headroom. Simply because the game is quite loud. We need to compress that audio down. Now, some good compression settings here. Drop this down to about -33 for now, and bring the wet down. It'll give us some headroom to play and monitor the audio levels. I'll restart the video and reopen OBS. So we can see in OBS now that my audio level is pretty much spot on for where I want it. And what this gameplay shows is that the compressor is knocking down everything so hard. You can see the explosions in the gunshots, they're over loud. But this just compresses the audio down, it keeps it at a nice solid level. There's going to be no random peaks, no overly loud moments. And you can always adjust the wet mix here to get the audio where you want for your broadcast, for your video. I'm quite happy with that. Once you're happy with all the levels, everything that you've done, don't forget to save it. Now, performance, save as. We had the previous one as microphone in. We're going to save this as game in. Nice and simple. One of the last things that you will need to do to get my kind of setup is control your friends' voices. Now, not everyone can afford a kind of setup like I've got. You know, they've got older headsets, not quite as good audio quality, noisy backgrounds, all this other stuff. The first thing you do is introduce like microphone discipline. Always use push to talk. Don't let them ramble on, don't let them have phone calls going on or videos of Britney Spears or whatever. It just ruins a recording, and no one needs that. The next thing you do is to control the volume. Everyone has different volume levels in TeamSpeak. They're really quiet, they're really loud. We're going to kind of put them all on an even playing field here. First thing you want to do, open up TeamSpeak. Go to Settings, Options, and Playback. Now I've already got this set up here. Way back in the video, when I was describing the audio cable layout, I mentioned that TeamSpeak will be playing out over line 3. Line 3 is set up to play back through my microphone, through the headphone port. So make sure this is set up, and just leave everything else that you've set up here. We'll just play a test sound and make sure it's coming through okay. That's coming through my headphones just fine. Now you wouldn't have heard that yet because we've not done the magical thing that needs to be done. You've probably guessed what we need to do. We'll need another VST host. Copy the one that you've made for your game sounds, because this is going to be exactly what we want. Name it something good. My mates. And open it up. Now, great thing is, we've already got everything we need. We have a compressor, we have our in, we have our out. What we need to do is map this to where it really needs to go. So the input is not going to be the wave, it's going to be the line 3. Straight from TeamSpeak, straight into this. The output, however, is going to go into our line 2. Now, our line 2 is already taking the input from my microphone. So what this is going to do is it's going to put your voice and your friend's voice into this channel. which means so you don't have to stop the stream to have a private conversation, to discuss IP addresses, or you know what game you're going to play next, or someone in the chat who's pissing you off. You can have a quick chat with your friends just with the push of a button. It's great. So now we've got this set up. I hit OK. And we'll play a test sound through TeamSpeak.
Testing your playback sound system.
And straight away you've got the audio coming through.
Sound system.
Fantastic. There's an option here called Auto Makeup on the compressor. Now what that does is it takes any quiet sound and brings them up to the same level as the loudest sounds. Now this can be good, it could be bad. It could be really bad if someone's got a noisy microphone, a lot of hiss. I tend to leave this off, and I tend to just bring the wet up so that the TeamSpeak lady,
Testing your playback sound system.
the voice matches
Testing your
mine.
playback sound system.
Test, test,
Testing your
test.
playback sound system.
Perfect.
Testing your playback sound system.
Don't forget to save your performance and name it something good. To finish up this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to bring this all together. To recap, we have our game sounds, we have our mates over TeamSpeak or Skype, and then we have our microphone in. To start a recording session, you have to open all three of these, otherwise no audio will come through. Start each one in turn, and just minimize it. Nice. So now that's everything we need to start a recording session. You now need to update your OBS. Under Settings, Audio, select the desktop audio device to be line 1. This is going to receive our game sounds and our Windows notification sounds. And then set our microphone auxiliary audio device to line 2. This is pretty cool. Everything's ready for a recording. What we're going to do is we're going to add the window capture back in. And we're going to open up TeamSpeak again. And have TeamSpeak play a test sound.
Testing your playback sound system.
Hi.
Testing your
I hear you,
playback
that's pretty
sound
cool.
system.
We'll open up
Testing your playback sound
the
system.
Battlefield video again.
Testing your playback sound system.
So this is what it'll be like
Testing your playback sound system.
in a live game.
Testing your playback sound system.
There'll be audio from my
Playback
friends,
sound system.
there'll be audio from myself, and there'll be audio from the game.
Sound system. Testing your
Nice,
playback sound
nice,
system.
nice.
Testing your playback sound system.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll try my best to answer any questions you have. It's been a pleasure making this video for you guys. Take it easy.